Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. This is my post-market wrap-up here. Lots of stuff to cover with you. I want you to come away from this video blog with the correct perspective. And I'm going to try to push this point home for you. And I'm going to ask you to share this video before I even get started. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth here. I just know it's going to be kind of something you want to hear. I don't rehearse any of this at all. It's never scripted. If you ever see me on a show, an interview, whatever it might be, know this, and this is my promise to all of you. I never take questions in advance. I don't want to know what they are. I want my answers to be spontaneous and unrehearsed. You should also know that most guests that appear on shows have their questions given to them in advance. Never once have I done that. Never once will I ever do it. Ask anyone who has ever interviewed me if I have been giving questions in advance. The answer is no. If someone says yes, I can promise you they're lying. All right, so let's talk about this. People, let me start off with this. I've explained to all of you for a decade. We have been moving quickly into a two-tier society, extreme haves, extreme have-nots. A feudal system is being engineered and thrust upon all of us. If this is not clear to you now that this is exactly what is happening by design, then you really are lost and you probably should not follow my work because I'm not getting through to you. The fact of the matter is, that's exactly what has been happening for quite a long time. And now with this merger of corporations and this new American government, you are about to see things you will not believe. That is the truth. Let me share this with all of you. It's very sad. I heard from another friend of mine today who's been in a family business for 70 years. They're about to close permanently, and their employees are being all laid off in this engineered environment where the new American government is picking who will survive. Henceforth, the marriage between corporations and the new American government. This is not the United States of America anymore. I hope you understand that as well. It is so monstrous, the thing that is developing here. And with its central bank, the hub in the new America, with its tentacles grabbing the entire world right now as the Fed is pushing trillions to central banks around the world, dollarizing the world, all by design. I did a few interviews lately where I covered all of this, what's really happening, why this is happening. One world currency, one world government, something we knew for a very long time was coming about. And what we're seeing here with the economic deep freeze here in America and around the world is to help foster this one world government, one world currency by paralyzing everyone, crushing the small businesses. Don't believe a word you hear coming out of the mouths of our politicians. For example, my friend who I talked to today could not get any help for his business whatsoever, so he is forced to close. They've drawn this out just long enough where they know many businesses are going to be forced to close as our new American government picks winners. Period. It's a frightening prospect to be living in this new America, this fascist. There's no other way to put it. The merger of corporations and a government is the definition of fascism. So what you need to be prepared for, people, is, and I don't want you to take this lightly, and I'm not using it as a sound bite, the new dark ages. The new dark ages. I mean, look at the unemployment numbers that we're hearing from the Federal Reserve to Wall Street banks to economists, they're all surpassing those that we saw during the Great Depression by 10% or more. Today, we found out Macy's, JCPenney's, Kohl's are furloughing almost all of their workers. We've never seen anything like this before. This collapse, and that's what we are in. This is a worldwide economic collapse. And they're doing everything they can right now to keep the stock market from free falling, although the Dow finished in the negative about 400 points today after being all over the place. Dow was negative, Dow was positive, stocks everywhere. Again, we have companies that are frozen in time and their stocks are being bid higher. Does that make sense to you? We know who's buying. It should be as clear can be to you. Maybe giving that glimmer of hope for those of you out here who have a 401k, who have lost huge sums. You got more losses coming. I can promise you that. More, much more. This is a setup here as our world moves rapidly into a new dark age. Now let me explain this to you today. So it seems that Nancy Pelosi and President Trump have now found themselves in bed together. They're both on the same page. We need more stimulus. We need more cash to be borrowed from the Federal Reserve here, talking about another $2 trillion in stimulus. Let me ask you, what is the quickest way to financial suicide? Let me outline that. Whether you're an individual or whether you're an entire nation, the quickest way to financial suicide is to borrow cash you don't have. All this is going to do is exacerbate the problem. So Nancy Pelosi and President Trump in bed together on the same page should be no surprise to you. Who's been explaining to you that there's one party? Nancy Pelosi and President Trump. You think they really do hate each other? If you do, then you've been duped. It's an act. It's all an act to keep the Trump people here and the Pelosi people here. You need two very distinct personalities to pull this off. And they've pulled it off like, the experts that they are. Trump is an actor. We all know that. He's been an actor. He's been on TV shows. Pelosi, she is a pro at this business as a politician. So she's an actor even more so than Trump is. They had this down to a science, and you have been played like a grand piano. I hope you understand that now. So understanding that the quickest way to financial suicide is to borrow cash that you don't have. Well, that's what they're doing here and allowing the Federal Reserve to move way above that pyramid. I've been telling you since time immemorial, the Federal Reserve is moving up that pyramid. Not only have they achieved the apex, they've gone way above it, and their final solution is really complete now. All they got to do is flip a couple of switches and it's over. The dollarization of the world right now, the real reason why they're funneling dollars around the world is very simple. One world currency, the US dollar, in another form, of course, it's going to be 100% digital. Those bills you have in your pocket are going to be relics. You can put them on your wall and show them to your grandchildren if you survive the dark ages, which are coming. Most people are not going to survive. You could say, we used to use these back in the day to transact. That's happening here. One world government, absolutely. That's where we're going here. Very, very rapidly. As the citizens right now are being deliberately brought to their knees as this economic deep freeze continues here. And the government is picking winners. Understand that. Not everyone's going to lose here. Just like how cash does not go to money heaven. When it leaves your account, it goes into someone else. The government is picking winners. Winners here. And most of you out here are going to lose. Are going to lose on an epic scale. I have forewarned, again, since I started. So more than a decade, we're going to see a loss of life on a biblical scale. This coronavirus thing is just the beginning. The aftermath of this, when the coronavirus leaves, is going to make the coronavirus look like a walk in the park. Because what we're going to end up seeing here is pandemonium in the streets as people cannot survive anymore. The old world America, that is now dead and buried. There's a lot of people walking around here that still think that's what we have, but this is not what we have. We have a new America, a corporate entity that is going to take you down in every way they possibly can. That's what this is designed to do. Not just rob your wealth in the stock market, but they're going to take your lives. So I want you to be prepared. Always have the high ground. Always have the high ground. Don't ever imagine that it's not going to be so bad. You see, these people with that kind of a mentality, it's not going to be so bad. I'll worry about it later, are leaving themselves wide open and vulnerable. Those of you out here that have the high ground or intend on taking it today have the best chance of surviving the dark ages that are coming here. We are going to see waves of unemployment like you cannot believe. People, their bellies are going to be rumbling with hunger pangs. Their children are going to be screaming, I need food. What do you think the mothers and fathers of those children are going to do? If you happen to live in an affluent neighborhood, if you happen to have a few dollars, you are a target. Where do you think these people are going to go? Into the poor neighborhoods? No, they're coming after you. They're coming after your assets, your food. Be ready for it here. You would need to be living in a fortress with a paid paramilitary force to get you through the worst part of the new dark ages that are coming. So this is why I'm telling you, most of you are not going to survive in a worst case scenario for which you need to be prepared for. So don't sit there and say, it's not going to get that bad, because if you do, and it gets that bad, well, you definitely won't survive. You understand that? I want you to know that. So anyway, what do we have? We have a global economic meltdown of the highest order. We have a global economic freeze. There's nothing going on here. It's like 90% of what it was just several months ago. And we have been in economic freefall way before the coronavirus. 10 cities are popping up all over the United States. They're everywhere. And this phenomenon is going to get much bigger. You might end up in one as well. Don't laugh. If you've lost your job, if you think that the government's going to get you through this and save you, you got something else coming. You really do. You need a smack right across your face as a wake-up call, because you are stuck in a nightmare. You are stuck in a worst case scenario. Like I've been explaining to you, I told all of you from how long ago, I cannot envision anything less than a worst case scenario unfolding. And we're in a worst case scenario. And the scapegoat is the coronavirus. It's the coronavirus that was deliberately dispersed, the crude oil cratering deliberately done here to crash the markets so the Fed can step in here and start buying the world. The final stage of their final solution to be the lender and buyer of last resort. That's where we are. That's where you are, right here and right now. So I want you to ponder all of these concepts I have just gone over with you. No matter what happens in the stock market, we know who's buying the market. Stock market fell 400 points today. We lost, about 28% since the top of this market. It's not real. The market should be 2/3 lower than it is now. And we're probably going to get there. I don't know when. It could be very rapid, but we'll see. The first 28% was exceedingly rapid. You are going to lose more capital in this market. There's no doubt about it. What do you think earnings are going to come in good? You think these companies are holding back forward guidance because they feel like we're going to a good place? Let me explain this to you. This is not going to be a quick recovery. When this is designed this way, this is how it's all being set up here. Worst case scenario, the greatest depression we have ever seen. This is going to last for decades. So be ready for a completely new life. If you're not ready for it now, you need to be ready for it. And I'm not saying that gold and silver is going to save you. Cryptocurrency is going to save you. Oh, absolutely not. Who knows? When people are out there in the street and you got a piece of gold, and they can't eat. They're not going to take your gold. They're going to take your food. You understand? That's really what the hot commodity moving forward is going to be. Sustenance is going to be things that will sustain your life. People, mark my words. Mark my words right here and right now. I am telling you that we are going into the new dark ages, which is going to make the Great Depression and the Greatest Depression. You have no idea what's coming down the pike. And I also want you to keep this in mind. All of it. Everything that's unfolding is by design. The last guy, President Obama, he was the first punch. Trump, 2. 1-2 punch, sending the Federal Reserve right up the scale to the top of that pyramid. Now they are above it. Way, way above it. The Federal Reserve is the strongest institution on earth. Nothing comes close to it. Nothing. And you also know that the enforcement arm of the Federal Reserve is the military might of the United States, or the new America. They will point that weapon in its entirety at all enemies, foreign and domestic. How do we know that? What is the job of a government? And do you think President Trump is actually the head of the government? He is not the head of the government. Governments, again, I'm going to say this for the quadrillionth time, are not run by presidents, kings, queens, monarchs, or even dictators. The world, never more so than today, is run by the central banks and the private institutions, the Wall Street banks that run them all. Once you understand that, you see things like the charade with Pelosi and Trump getting you polarized, making you hate each other, playing on you like you were nothing but a grand piano, because that's what they've done to you. Now they're in bed together. We need more stimulus. We need to borrow more cash. How many of you realize that most states here in the Union, about 40% of states, are bankrupt? And they're calling either bankrupt or going to be bankrupt very soon. States are now calling on the Federal Reserve for bailouts. You think this is not by design as well? Wake up. Wake up, people, because you're going to find yourself in the new dark ages faster than you can possibly imagine. Long video. Very important video, I think, as well. I'm going to urge you, if you consider yourself a Greg Mannarino fan, a Greg Mannarino follower, even if you hate my freaking guts, all right, that's fine too. Please share this video. Let's get it out as far and wide as we possibly can. Do you know why I'm asking you to do that? Not because I want to become more well-known, because I don't give a damn. Because I think I've said things here that are very important. And you and I, what our job is here is to make a difference in the world, is to make a difference in other people's lives. I was talking to someone very close to me today, and very spiritual person. And they're like, well, I've been praying to God about all this. I came back and I said, well, I happen to know this person intimately well. And I don't mean intimately in that way, but very, very well. I said, tell me, what have you done for another person over the past year? How much have you donated to a charity you believe in? Why would God listen to your prayers if you have done nothing for another person? I don't believe that's how it works. You see, I believe you must pay it forward here. Why would a God, whatever God you may believe in, whether you feel like you've been saved or not, listen to a prayer out of your mouth or in your thoughts, because God knows all things, if you have not done a single thing for another person? That's why I'm the kind of guy that goes out of my way to do things for other people. I'm going to tell you a little story. I know this is getting really long. My neighbor here, right next door, barely speaks English. Asian couple, the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. I don't know what they're saying. A little older. They have a beautiful tree in front of their house that was falling over. And they couldn't do anything about it. And I'm certain they were getting notices from the homeowners association. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it week after week. I was like, This can't stand. So I went over there and I fixed the guy's tree, made it look beautiful. I put new posts in. Didn't know I did it at all, whatsoever. I didn't even mention that I did it, but somehow he found out that it was me. I guess another neighbor said, hey, you know your neighbor over there? There's something really nice for you. Well, yesterday, I walk outside my house, and they gave me this beautiful gift. I didn't ask for it. I didn't want anything. It was just, I just feel like a little thing like that, like me, just going over there and fixing up this guy's tree for him. You know how long it took me? 20 minutes. I went up there, I trimmed it, click, 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 click. I had the tools to fix his poles. I restrapped everything up. It made me feel good to do that. I don't know. People, we gotta embrace each other on a different level here. I can't stress this enough to you, and I've been saying this since forever. We need each other. We need each other like you have no idea, especially in these new dark ages that we're going to face. We're not each other's enemies. We've never been each other's enemies. I don't care what background you might have, what color your skin is, what religion you are, what language you speak, how old you are, whatever they try to divide us by. It doesn't matter at all. That's how they win. Divide and conquer. We're not going to let them win. We're never going to let them win. Find one thing that you can do for somebody else today, right now. I don't know. You see a piece of garbage sitting on your neighbor's lawn. Your neighbor's car's dirty. Go wash it. I don't know. Do something for someone else. You know, when we die, what do we really take with us? We take with us those things that we do for others, not what we do for ourselves. Can you understand these things? Look, I could go on and on here, but I really want you to understand that today's not Friday, but I always leave you off every Friday with 3 things, and you know what they are. I'll say it again here, and I don't mind saying it every single day. Love each other, care about each other, and be charitable. Don't just make this some kind of a thing that you hear. Become it. In life, whatever it might be, you want to be a trader, you want to be a dog washer, whatever you want to be. You want to be the best at it, right? Become that thing. So, when you hear me tell you, love each other, care about each other, and be charitable, if you make this who you are, then you become that thing. And it will be so easy for you to spread a little love. And you know what will happen to it? It'll just keep moving on. It'll keep moving on. Around the entire freaking world, one act of kindness is enough to move a freaking mountain. I want you to remember these things, because these are philosophies that go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But we know a truth when we hear it. You understand? All right, look, I'm going to let you all go. I'm going to ask you one more time to share the video. This guy, and I mean this too, I love you. I love all of you. I feel a responsibility to every single one of you. That's why I sit here and I do these video blogs. And I put these things out to try to take complicated issues and boil them down to what they actually are, so you can take action, so you can come away with, after watching a video like this, with maybe a different perspective than you had before you watched the video. Anyway, that is it. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I did it last year and it was a big hit. Next year at one point, when this whole all blows over, I'm going to rent a big room out here, a big hall in Las Vegas, and I'm going to invite all of you. Last time I didn't plan it out too well. We just hung out at a bar. I thought we had a blast. But next year, when this blows over, we'll maybe this year, we'll see. We're going to have a real party. And I would like-minded people to come there, people that have something to share, people that have something to give, people with love in their hearts. I'm out of here. As you can see, I can keep talking. See you tomorrow.